Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. I hope you're doing good and well. So it's time for a Sunday album review and I'm talking about the 8th studio album from Draconian titled In Somnolent Ruin. This was released on the 8th of May via Napalm Records and the album is 9 tracks and just under an hour in length. It also heralds the return of original singer Lisa Johansson to the band, her first album since 2011's A Rose for the Apocalypse. And I'm a pretty big fan of Draconian, I really am. I think they have a really solid discography. In fact, the only album I've never been so keen on is actually A Rose Through the Apocalypse from 2011, Lisa's last album with the band. I love the Heike Langens era with Sovereign and Under a Godless Veil, fantastic records. But I also really loved, I think, those earlier records with Lisa as well, going right up to Turning Season Within, Draconian's own Dark Horse disc right there. And Arcane Rainfall is such a classic. I mean, an amazing, amazing record. And I've always leant towards the more melodic doom styles. Personally, I love bands like Swallow the Sun, Efficient Tree, Saturnus, Draconian, that have just a really haunting atmosphere, which I feel is slightly more accessible than other kinds of doom metal that are more leaning into the funeral doom styles. I've always loved these kind of more melodic styles personally, and good vocal arrangements in these records too have always stood out to me. In particular, those that you tend to find on albums from Draconian and Swallow the Sun, for example. So there's a real lucidity in Draconian albums too. There is a real a kind of slightly more accessibility, as I say, that you get from them as you do with other more melodic doom bands as well. So let's go into some of my more standout tracks on this album. When I do my album reviews, I don't cover all the songs on the records. I usually just cover what were my personal highlights or tracks that, where I sort of have something more to say about each song on the album. So let's start with the Monochrome Blade, which was the second song, which I thought had a bit more of a death doom style about it, actually, with some slightly more up tempo than what is typical, I guess, from a Draconian offering. Lisa's vocals come in. I mean, it's as though she's never been away, I think, sometimes in this record. She sounds so good, and sometimes I feel even stronger than I maybe remember her on some previous Draconian albums too. She's that good at times on this record. The crescendos towards the end also really heighten the overall atmosphere of this song, and it manages to be both heavy but also mellow at the same time. So you still kind of got the Draconian trademark stuff going on in this song. Anima featured a guest vocalist whose name I can't quite pronounce. I think Daniel Engala or something. Apologies. And the lead guitar riff that came in the second half of this song reminded me a little bit of Metallica's The Unforgiven. I'm not sure if anyone else picked up on that, but it does kind of change and evolve this song into something greater, I think, as the three vocalists, including the guest vocalist and Anders and Lisa, as they all come together and create a fantastic climax at the end of Anima that I personally really, really liked. I Gave You Wings presents something which is more typical of the Draconian formula, but that doesn't make it any less good, really. I love the Draconian formula. I think it's a very potent and has always been an effective formula. It reminds me somewhat of the Sorrow of Sophia, actually, from previous album Under a Godless Veil, this song. Super atmospheric. I love the melodic leads about halfway through I Gave You Wings. And the way that those also loop back around at the end of the song, they kind of bring it to a nice finish. For me, what currently stands out as my absolute favourite on this record is Misanthrope River. This has one of the more sweeping, beautiful melodies on the album, I think, and the way it evolves and the way Lisa and Anders growls, sort of their vocals both trade off each other in this song is just absolutely wonderful. It sits as my favourite song on the record right now, and I think is one of my top 10 songs of 2026 so far. That's how good I think this song really is. I mean, it feels like both something new for the band, but also something that uses all the strengths that they have in their arsenal. And Lisa on this song is absolutely so good at times that it's emotionally devastating, this song, I think, as well. It's really, really, for me, is the high point on the whole record. And the album closes with Leith, another word I struggle to say, to be honest. Another song, though, that demonstrates the strength of this band. I think the song evolves into beautiful lines and more big crescendos as it goes on that work, again, really well with that classic Draconian formula that we all love. All us Draconian fans have really come to know and love over the years. And those last two songs have actually slightly altered what score I was going to give this album, because the more I've listened to these last two tracks, the more I have enjoyed them and realised just how good they are, with all those interplay, all that interplay of those classic Draconian dynamics that are so good. You know, they are mic drop kind of songs, you know, I think personally. So that has slightly altered what score I was going to give. I was probably going to give this like in the region somewhere between a 7.5 and an 8, but those last two songs are so good. I'm giving this album an 8.5 out of 10. I think this is a triumphant return for the band and for Lisa Johansson, the original, one of the original singer, to come back to. And yeah, great record, really good. And yeah, let me know what you thought of this one in the comments. Did you love it, or maybe you didn't like it so much? Let me know. And yeah, until next time on The Green Man, do drop a like and a sub if you're new to my channel. Otherwise, it is, as always, bye for now.